Welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Failed Actor. Well, I didn't fail as an actor. Like, I actually learned the skill. Um, I got the skill, so I know how to act. I'm not a movie star. How about that? A failed movie star. I failed to movie star. Is that sufficient? I'm Edmund Allen Jones, aka Eddie with the Y, the off book guy. And welcome to the Verb Gym, where we don't just talk about the craft of acting, we do something about it. Now, I'm a 20-year veteran in the theater game. I performed everywhere from Denmark to Singapore and many places in between. Not saying all of that to brag, just saying that I've seen some things. So I'm here to walk you through the path to overcoming all of the pitfalls here in the acting game. Now, one of the big things that I want to talk about is what are the skills that I would have gained over the years if I were to start from scratch as an actor, knowing what I know now, being in my 40s. If I'm starting over as, I don't know, a 19-year-old going into college. So there are a couple of things that I would want to learn to get some discipline, to take care of my body, and to be able to do all the things that actors are expected to do. Now, if you look at some of your favorite actors, they eventually get to be superheroes, and of course, they got to take care of their body. So, right off the rip, I would take a martial art. Um, I wish I would have started that at 10 or 12, made some choices in my life, did a lot of theater, but a martial art is really helpful with discipline, getting you in shape, and then also you get to be a superhero one day. The second thing I would take is singing classes. It just, even if you don't have the gift, like you can hold a note, but you can't sing. You can sing, but you can't sing. I would still take singing classes so that you can really get good at supporting your breath and projecting your voice, articulating, breath support, all of those things. Articulating, breath support, things that you learn as a singer. The next thing that I would have on my list is ballet or modern dance. And, maybe you'll get some of that stuff with the martial art, but really having a classical dance training and, knowing all the terminology, especially if you want to be a triple threat in Broadway, it's really good to have that dance training. After that, we have active listening. And so, how do you really cultivate this skill? I think it would be something like being a counselor or working at a hotline where you are there to listen to people. So not only are you providing a public service, but you're developing your skill as a listener, and you're getting paid to do it sometimes. But that's how I would go after getting that skill. Then we have public speaking, we have projection. You got places like Toastmasters where you can make that happen. Then I would get, in addition to the martial arts training, maybe some kind of weapons training, because unfortunately, I'm not a violent person, but most movies, especially if you're, going to get that martial arts training, you're going to have some kind of weapons training as well, because people like action movies. You want to be a movie star, you're going to be in action movies. And then, of course, I would pick a technique. Now, my favorite technique is practical aesthetics. I just love the way you're not focused on emotions. You're not focused on trying to dredge up your past. It's not all about digging into the trauma of your life. It's really about pursuing what the character wants, using the script as your guide, and just going to get it. And so a lot of the stuff that I teach, especially with the off-book method that I came up with, coincides beautifully with practical aesthetics. And it's just really about knowing your stuff really solid. Of course, I'm going to throw in the off book method, link in the description. And it's just, I think it is really important to know how to memorize lines correctly. A lot of people have ways that they memorize lines, but unfortunately, I think they memorize lines in a way that limits their ability to be flexible as actors. Sometimes they memorize in a way, oftentimes, not sometimes, oftentimes, they memorize in a way that gets them in a rut. So they're stuck. And when a director tries to give them notes to go in a different direction, they can't because they just memorized it this one way. And so that really messes them up. So that's why the off-book method, I really love that for you. Link in the description. And I'm not just saying that because I came up with it. Okay, yes, I am. Okay. All right. And then finally, mindfulness. Mindfulness. So being able to be present. I think when somebody says they have amazing stage presence, what that means is they're literally nowhere else but on the stage. They're in the moment, and that comes from knowing their lines. That comes from being prepared. That has discipline with their body, which all of the things that I talked about earlier will lead to that. But mindfulness is all about being present, living on the razor's edge of the now. There are some great books on this. One of my personal favorites is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. Sorry, Edgard, I love you. Please don't be mad at me for messing up your name. Don't be mad at me. So those are the skills that I would focus on getting. And to add a bonus, maybe like a 10.5, I would want you to think about your career in terms of a decade as opposed to trying to squeeze all of this in 1 year, or maybe even in the 4 years of college or 2 years of graduate school if you're like me and you're going after your master's degree in theater. And think of this as a decade. One of my favorite stories is how Kobe Bryant, when he first began his basketball career, he was awful. He didn't score any points. It was a really rough his first season. So he decided that he was going to think of his basketball life as a life. And so he focused on a skill every year. And so these things that I just pointed out, I would, obviously you want to keep them going throughout the course of the year, but I would really hone in. There's a difference between hone and home. You hone a skill, you home on a destination, just FYI. So I would home in on a skill every year. I would hone that skill over the course of the year, and then the next year we want to build on it with one of the other skills. So those are the things that I would focus on early in my career. If you have some other things you want to add, are you a professor? Are you a drama coach? Are you a rusty veteran like me? What would you add to this list? Drop it in the comments. Do the YouTube's things. You know how it goes. If you dig it, like it, share it. Subscribe if you wanna. You don't have to, but it will help. All right, that's it. This has been Eddie with a Y. You've been watching the Verb Gym, where we don't just talk about the craft of acting. We do something about it. Peace.